Hello everyone and welcome to Barca News. It is February 21st, 2023 and Joan Laporta has fired back at Javier Tebas. Also, La Liga have decided to reduce the salary limit of Barcelona and the German wonder kid Florian Wirtz has been linked with the club. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and we'll begin with the news that preparations are underway as Barcelona are getting ready for that playoff match against Manchester United at Old Trafford on Thursday. And the question remains, who will Xavi use in his lineup since Barcelona have been hit with a series of injuries including Pedri, Ousmane Dembele and Sergio Busquets. Now we can start to get a glimpse or a guess about who Xavi will be using because in the match against Cadiz on Sunday, we saw both Rafinha and Frankie being rested and only coming in during the final third of the match. And we also saw both Robert Lewandowski and Frankie de Jong being substituted during the second half. So we can guess that all these four players could be starting in the match against Manchester United. And in regards to Sergio Busquets, even though he didn't play any minutes against Cadiz, it's most likely that Xavi will be counting on him because when he was asked about Busquets, Xavi said, and I quote, "He'll be fine." So we could see a combination of Frankie de Jong and Sergio Busquets in the midfield as a double pivot with Frankie on the right or lower left side. And maybe we could see Sergio Roberto as well. And of course, we'll most likely see Robert Lewandowski and Rafinha in the attack. But I would like to hear from you. Who do you think Xavi will start in the match against Manchester United? Or who do you think Xavi should start in that match? So drop a comment down below. Now, speaking of injuries, it's been confirmed that Ousmane Dembele will miss the first leg of the Copa del Rey against Real Madrid in that semi-final Clásico match. And as I reported previously, it was initially estimated that Ousmane Dembele could be out until the middle of March or around March 15. And now it has been officially confirmed. So Dembele most likely will be coming back around the 15th of March because Barcelona don't want to risk anything with the player's recovery. They don't want to rush it. They don't want to bring him back before he is 100% fully fit because they don't want him to go through what he went through the past 5 seasons where he was constantly getting injured and re-injured. They want to make sure that Dembele stays healthy, gets healthy and stays that way until the end of the season and for many years to come. Now on to the news that Joan Laporta has fired back at La Liga's president Javier Tebas. Now as I reported previously, Barcelona are currently involved in a scandal where it was discovered that Josep Maria Bartomeu, while he was president of the club, had hired the former referee and at the time the vice president of the board of referees of La Liga, Enriquez Negreiras, as a consultant for the club between the years of 2016 and 2018. And during those years, Bartomeu ended up paying him a total of 1.4 million euros. Now, Joan Laporta and Barcelona issued an official statement a few days back, which I reported on in a previous video, where the club acknowledged what was going on, but didn't give any further explanations. And yesterday, La Liga's president, Javier Tebas, stated that if Joan Laporta cannot explain those payments, that he should resign. Now, before I proceed with the response of Joan Laporta to Tebas, I would like to say, who the hell is Javier Tebas to ask for the resignation of the president of Barcelona? After all, Joan Laporta was elected by more than 80% of all the club members. And if anybody should ask for his resignation, should be the club members and not Javier Tebas as the president of La Liga. The other thing I want to say is that where was Javier Tebas? And I've asked this question before. When Josep Maria Bartomeu was the president of the club, where he was constantly spending hundreds of millions of euros on exorbitant transfer fees, salaries that were way above market value, constantly surpassing the financial fair play rules, constantly paying journalists and PR firms to make him look good in the media, paying money to journalists and PR firms to make players like Messi and Piqué look bad in the media, spending money that till this day we don't know where it went, and completely misusing the funds and appropriating the funds of the club. Javier Tebas, not only was he nowhere to be found to tell Bartomeu not to do that, but he was also nowhere to be found to tell Bartomeu that he should resign. But yeah, here he is telling Joan Laporta, who's doing an extraordinary job managing the club, that he should resign. Now, Joan Laporta today gave an answer to Javier Tebas' statements, and he said, "These works were done with the corresponding invoice and have the corresponding documentary and video support of some services that had been provided. Shortly, in the shortest possible time, we will hold a press conference to explain all the information we have in the club about this whole issue." Mr. Tebas has once again shown his face. They already told us that he was fomenting a campaign against Barca and myself. The mask has already been removed again. In his career, he has already shown his anti-Barcelona tendencies. In 2005, he no longer wanted Messi to play for Barca. He is obsessed with Barca. He does not forgive us for the fact that we did not sign the agreement with the CVC and that we are in the Super League. He wants me to stop being president of Barca. It is not a coincidence that we are doing well now. Now, I'm very glad that Joan Laporta has finally said enough and decided to fire back at Javier Tebas, because as Joan Laporta said, this goes beyond Javier Tebas' job as a president. This has simply become an obsession for Javier Tebas, who's a self-declared Real Madrid fan and a member of Real Madrid. And there's no doubt that Javier Tebas is doing this only to hurt Barcelona, not because he's doing this as a function of his presidency. And this has to stop, and I'm really glad that Joan Laporta has said enough is enough, and he has come out with this statement, because someone has to put Javier Tebas in his place. Now, speaking of Javier Tebas and La Liga, the Spanish League met today in order to calculate the wage limits of all the clubs after the closing of the winter transfer market. And the Spanish League have decided to reduce Barcelona's wage limit by 7.5 million euros. Now, even though Gerard Piqué, Memphis Depay, and Hector Bellerin all exited the club, and the club were hoping that their wage limit would increase with these exits, unfortunately that didn't happen, because the club did lose around 26 million euros from their early elimination out of the Champions League. Now, Javier Tebas has told Barcelona in the past that they need to reduce their wage limit by or their wage bill by 200 million euros come summer, so they can continue to be able to sign new players. So Barcelona are either going to have to sell players, increase their revenues, or even do both. Now, Barcelona do have a problem next season, is that the Spotify Camp Nou will be closed for renovations. So Barcelona are going to be playing their matches at the Olympic Stadium in Montjuic, which has a capacity of around 60,000 people, versus the Camp Nou that has a capacity of around 98,000 people. So not only is Barcelona going to have to pay the city of Barcelona to use that Olympic Stadium, which would mean, less money for the club, but they're also going to be losing ticket sales, because the Olympic Stadium does have a much reduced capacity compared to the Spotify Camp Nou. Now, nonetheless, it's reported that Joan Laporta and board of directors do have a plan to reduce their wage limit. It's expected that there are going to be a lot of exits this coming summer. And of course, Barcelona are also planning the signing of several new sponsorships, including that Philips sponsorship that I reported about in my previous videos. Now, this situation at the club that will require Barcelona to reduce their wage bill dramatically puts this next news in doubt, and that's that Barcelona has been linked with the German wonder kid Florian Wirtz. Now, Wirtz is a 19-year-old attacking midfielder who currently plays for Bayer Leverkusen, and he has said on multiple occasions that his dream is to play for Barcelona, that his idol is Lionel Messi. And given these statements, he has been linked with Barcelona, stating that the club are currently eyeing the German wonder kid. Now, there's no doubt that Barcelona would be very interested in signing Florian Wirtz. However, Bayer Leverkusen are currently asking for 60 million euros for the young player. So there's absolutely no way that Barcelona could sign him in the summer, because that's a price that the club simply cannot afford at the moment. Now, this doesn't mean that there's absolutely no way for Florian Wirtz to end up in Barcelona. There are other ways that he could come. He could wait maybe a few years until Barcelona fix their financial situation. Maybe Bayer Leverkusen could agree to a payment plan or a reduction of the asking price. But as of now, it's not looking possible, despite Barcelona's interest in the player and despite the player's interest to come to Barcelona. Now, on to the news that the contract renewal of Sergio Roberto is finally done. Now, as I reported previously, Xavi wants Sergio Roberto to stay for one more season past the contract expiration of June 2023. And it had initially reported that Barcelona had reached an agreement with Sergio Roberto for this contract renewal. However, it seems that there were some very small details that still needed to be agreed upon, and it's now being reported that everything is now agreed on and Sergio Roberto will be extending his contract with Barcelona for one more season with an option to extend it for one more, pending several variables that need to be met, which are difficult to meet. But nonetheless, Sergio Roberto is okay with the deal that he's been offered, and it's reported that he has not asked for more money, and he's content with receiving the same salary that he's currently receiving, which is very low. So he's actually the least earning player on the squad, and he's currently earning like a Barca Athletic player. Now, one player who will not be renewing with Barcelona is Elias Acomac. Now, Elias Acomac is an 18-year-old winger who currently plays for Barca Athletic. And he initially was having a pretty good career with Barca Athletic, but he seemed to plateau where he hasn't been able to score any goals or provide assists in the past few matches. And his contract is set to expire in the summer of 2023. And it seems that the player has decided to leave the club. Now, Leeds United have reportedly made an official offer to the player. And there's also reports that AC Milan are interested in signing the player as well. And Barcelona are okay with him leaving because they currently have several wingers on the first team. And it also seems like Elias Acomac had asked for more money, which Barcelona not only cannot afford, but also were not willing to pay him. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I'd like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, peace, Barça.